welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making oven roast beef using the triple A beef round roast. And on the side I will be making some sautéed mushrooms. Let's get started.
Now I'm going to start slicing my vegetables into small pieces. First, I'm going to start with my celery.
Start by slicing the celery into small pieces and keep them the same size. Be careful while you are cutting the celery because the knife is very sharp. Then start slicing your carrots. When you are done slicing the celery, and keep it the same size as the celery as well. The onions into small pieces. Now I'm going to start cutting up my garlic. Slice each clove of garlic into 4 strips. Then I'll be slicing some rosemary into fine pieces. This rosemary is from me and my mom's garden, so this is very fresh and organic. The rosemary will bring a nice flavor to the meat. And if you also have fresh rosemary in your garden like me, I recommend you use it. Once I am done slicing all of my vegetables up, it is time to season and dry the beef. The type of beef that I am using is the triple A round roast beef. And then I'll be pat drying my beef with some paper towel. Once I am done pat drying one of my round roast beefs, I'm going to unwrap that from the paper towel and putting it on a plate so there's more space for me to pat dry my other round roast beef. And pat dry the other one the same way you did to the last one. This is what they should look like once they are done being pat dried. Then poke some holes inside of the beef, but don't poke them too big. Just poke them big enough that the garlic can fit in it. There is no certain amount of holes that you need to poke into the meat. And make sure to poke some holes on all the sides of the beef. And you want to do this to the other beef as well. Then start stuffing the holes with the garlic. Put one piece of garlic in one hole. And make sure to do this with the other round roast beef as well. Then add a little bit of olive oil onto the beef. And rub the olive oil all over the beef. Make sure to get all the sides coated with it. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Then add a little bit of salt on both of the round roast beefs and spread the salt around with your hands. Then sprinkle on some black pepper as well. And rub that in with your hands. After sprinkling on some pepper, sprinkle some rosemary right on top of it. Then rub it in with your hands.
The meat just smells so good, especially the rosemary. I'm going to start sauteing the vegetables, but first I have to wash my hands because they got really messy.
This is what the beef looks like once it is done being seasoned. Now it's time to saute the vegetables. First, turn on the heat and add the oil to the pan and let it heat up. Once the oil is done heating up, it is time to add in the vegetables we are going to saute. First, add in the garlic and saute that for just a little bit. You don't want to make the garlic golden brown though. Then add in the onions, carrots, and celery and saute that with the garlic. I don't want to saute the vegetables too much because I will be putting this in the oven with the roast beef. And add in a little bit of salt and pepper to the vegetables as well. And mix it in. Then add in some red wine and mix it up. Then add in some hot water. I will be using 3 cups of hot water. The reason why I'm adding in hot water is because it will make the beef very moist. And mix everything together until it is well combined. And just let it simmer for a little. When it has simmered once, turn off the heat and add in the rack. Place the beef onto the rack. Then cover it up with some tin foil. Put the beef in the oven at 350 Fahrenheit for an hour and a half. Once an hour and a half is done, take the beef out of the oven. After an hour and a half is finished, I'm going to add some melted butter on top of the beef, and then I'm going to broil it for 10 to 15 minutes. Brush the melted butter all over the beef. Put the beef in the oven to broil for 10 to 15 minutes.
Now I'm going to start making the sautéed mushrooms. First, I'm just going to unpackage this. And now I'm just going to dump my mushrooms in my salad spinner. And I'm going to wash them. And now I'm going to start spinning.
Once my mushrooms are dry, I'm going to slice them into thin pieces. Be careful when you are slicing the mushrooms because the knife is very sharp. And keep these slices the same size. Once I am done slicing my mushrooms, I'm going to start sauteing them. Turn on the heat and then add in some oil. Once the oil is hot, it is time to start sauteing the mushrooms. Make sure your mushrooms are dry so then they don't become watery. Now I'm going to add in the mushrooms and mix it up slowly because you don't want to spill them. Then add in some black pepper and mix it up. And then I'll be adding in a little bit of oyster sauce and just put that in and mix it up. I'll be adding in some red wine and mix that up. I'm going to add in a little bit more red wine to the mushrooms and continue mixing. Keep on sauteing the mushrooms until there is no more juice left from the mushrooms and the wine. After a few minutes of sauteing the mushrooms, the juice from the wine is finally gone. The mushrooms are smelling so good and are looking so delicious. These will pair so well with the round roast beef that we are broiling right now. Now the mushrooms are finished being cooked and they are ready to be served. After 10 to 15 minutes of broiling the meat, take it out of the oven. This is what it should look like after a few minutes of broiling it. As you can see, there is some juice at the bottom of the baking pan, but that is good because I meant to do that. We are going to use that juice for the gravy. The beef looks so good. Just look at that perfectly cooked round roast beef. I'll be letting my roast beef rest in another pan so some of the juice can drip out. Now it is time to make the gravy for our roast beef. This is the juice from the beef. First, I will be adding some flour into a bowl with cold water, and I will be mixing that together with a whisk. Mix it together until it is well combined. Once the flour and cold water are fully combined together, add it into the beef juice. Mix it up until it is well combined. Mix it while it simmers until it turns into a beautiful brown color. This is what the gravy should look like once it is done. And as you can see, it has changed colors and it turned into this beautiful brown color. Once it becomes a nice brown color, strain it so then the vegetables won't be in the gravy. Once the gravy is strained, it will become a nice runny gravy that will match perfectly with the roast beef. Once I am done straining my gravy, I'll be pouring it into a gravy holder. Slice the beef and it's ready to serve. This is what it looks like once it is done. We have the beef, mushrooms, and the gravy. And I also have some mashed potatoes on the side as well. If you want to learn how to make that, go check out my lamb video and it will be there. Now I'm going to try it and tell you how it tastes. When I put the beef in my mouth, it was so juicy and it was so tender. And the gravy is so delicious. The garlic adds more flavor to the beef and it also has a really nice color. The beef is so moist because of the water we added at the bottom of the pan. And the gravy has so much flavor into it because of the beef's juice. Now let's try some of the mushrooms. The sautéed mushrooms are so good. The mushrooms are not soggy because they were dry before we started sautéing them. If you don't like mushrooms, then you can also pair this with some mashed potatoes. I have some mashed potatoes on my plate as well. I have the recipe of the mashed potatoes on my lamb vlog. So if you would like to make that instead, go and check out my vlog. I guarantee that all of you will love this recipe. This recipe is great for dinner. And if you also have some special events that you are hosting, this will serve as a great dish. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And please don't forget to click that notification bell to be notified when I post my next video. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye!